Good day, everyone. We are the Group 3, and I am KCJ R. Diputado, and I'm the first reporter. Our objectives are, at the end of this lesson, you will able to describe color and its types, explain the color theory, and explain the importance of light in forensic photography. So, our first lesson that I'm going to discuss is about the colors of light found in visible spectrum. The first topic is the order of colors. So first is the primary colors. These three colors, yellow, red, and blue, are known as the primary RGB colors, and all other colors in the spectrum come from combining at least two of them. So in forensic photography, the primary colors used are typically red, yellow, and blue. This is because the color space used by digital cameras and other electronic devices to capture and display images. The use of primary colors also allows for easy comparison and analysis of images, as the colors in different photographs can be easily compared and matched using computer software. The use of primary colors in forensic photography is important because it allows for accurate presentation of the evidence. For example, a blood stain may appear different shades of red depending on the lighting and other factors. But by using calibrated primary colors, the photograph can accurately capture the true color of the stain. The second color and the second order of color is secondary color. Secondary color are those that require the visual stimulation of two different receptor cones. For example, seeing yellow requires a balanced amount of red and green light. So secondary color is the colors that result from the combination of two primary colors. When yellow and red combine, they create the secondary color orange. When red and blue combine, they create the secondary color purple. When blue and yellow combine, they create secondary color green. So the use of secondary colors in forensic photography in combination with filters can help investigators to produce photographs that reveal important information about a crime scene or victim. Investigators can enhance the visibility of specific details that may be crucial in determining the nature of source and evidences. For example, is in forensic photography, the use of a yellow filter to capture bruising on the skin. A yellow filter absorbs blue light, which is complementary color to yellow. When blue light is absorbed, the yellow color of the bruise becomes more visible in the photograph. This can be helpful in identifying the extent and location of the bruising, which can be important in cases of assault or abuse. And the last is tertiary colors. Tertiary colors, also known as intermediate colors. So tertiary colors are created by mixing a primary color with a secondary color. In forensic photography, tertiary colors can be used to enhance specific details in an image, similar to the use of secondary colors. The example of using tertiary colors in forensic photography is the use of green filter to capture images of plant materials such as leaves and grass with blood at a crime scene. The green filter will absorb red light, which is complementary color to green, making the green color of the plant material more vivid and easier to see in the image. So the use of tertiary color in forensic photography can help to enhance the visibility of specific details that might otherwise be difficult to see. Next reporter.
Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Farin Benosa, and I will tackle about the color theory that emphasizes. What does color theory emphasizes? Color theory emphasizes when all the colors of spectrum are combined, they add up to white light. White light appears when all the wavelength between 400 to 700 nn are presented to the eye in early equal quantity. Next slide, please. Next is types of color schemes. Color schemes, in order to use color in photography effectively, one must learn how to create balanced color combination. These combinations are commonly known as color schemes. Next slide, please. First is complementary colors. Complementary colors are those found in opposite sides of the color wheel. There are three main reasons why complementary color schemes are so popular in photography. One, the juxtaposition of the two hues results in a bold, vivid contrast. Next is colors that are complementary inherently balance one another. And three, they simply look good together. Next slide, please. Analogous colors. Analogous color schemes are those that use adjacent hues on the color wheel. They are usually based on a primary color that serves as the connection between all of them, but in some cases, the dominant hue might be a secondary color. Next slide, please. Next slide is monochrome colors. Monochrome color schemes refers to any compositions that uses only single hue with variations of its tones and shades. That's all.
Good day. My name is Maurice Jake Arcalubia. So, color variables. So each color has a wide range of tones and shades, which transform a basic color wheel into a complete palette of the 10 million colors humans can see. So with color variables, you can set colors that synchronize across your document. When you make changes to a color variables, those changes appear across all of the layers that uses it. So you can create color variables that are local to a specific document or share them in a library to use in other designs. Next slide, please. Next is advancing a receding colors. So the color wheel is split between warm and cool colors. So when considering color choice for paint, you can choose receding colors, which are cooler colors such as light blues and light grays that will make the space feel bigger, or advancing colors, which are warmer colors such as yellows, reds, violets, and terracottas, which create a more cozy feel. Next slide, please. Next is the elements of colors, which includes hue, saturation, and luminance. So hue, it refers to the radial position of a color on the RGB color wheel. So it refers to the origin of the colors we can see, the primary and secondary colors, which yellow, orange, red, violet, blue, and green are considered hues. However, tertiary colors, mixed colors, where neither color is dominant, would also be considered hues. Then saturation. Saturation, it refers to the purity or intensity of a color on a scale from 0 to 100. So color saturation is the intensity and purity of a color is as displayed in an image. So the higher the saturation of a color, the more vivid and intense it is. So the lower the color saturation, the closer it to pure gray on grayscale. And last is luminance, also known as brightness or value. So luminance determines how bright or dark a color is. So luminance is a measure to describe the perceived brightness of a color. In other words, how bright is the color from a reflected surface. Relative luminance, on the other hand, is defined as the relative brightness of any point in a color space. So normalized to 0% for black and normalized to 100% for white. That's all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Mary Lord Lagrama, and my topic for today is all about lesson 3, the importance of light in forensic photography. So, the importance of light in forensic photography cannot be overstated as it plays a critical role in the accurate documentation and preservation of physical evidence, which can ultimately lead to the successful resolution of criminal investigation. Next, please. Light, lightning styles and effects. So, lightning styles and effects refers to the techniques and methods used to create specific modes, atmospheres, and visual effects through the use of lighting in photography. And additionally, lighting styles and effects are important tools for photographers as they can be used to convey specific emotions and create a specific atmosphere or enhance the overall impact of an image or a scene. Next, please. Frontal or direct lighting. Lighting is created with the light behind or near the photographer's camera and lens that makes pictures look as though the light came from camera's lens itself or on access with the camera. So, frontal or direct lighting is a type of lighting technique in which the light source is positioned directly in front of the subject and illuminating the subject from the front. And this lighting style is characterized by a lack of subject, and also frontal lighting is commonly used in commercial and product photography as well as in portrait photography where a natural flattering look is desired. And also, however, lighting can also result in lack of depth and dimension in the image, and as there are no shadows to create contrast or emphasize the subject shape, and therefore it is important to consider the desired effect and the specific requirements of the scene. Next, please. Bounce lighting. Bounce lighting uses a technique where the flash or external light source is reflected off an object or surface to create a software and directional illumination of the subject. So bounce lighting is a technique in which a light source is directed as a surface such as a wall or ceiling, and the reflected light is used to illuminate the subject indirectly. This technique is often used in photography and video production to create a soft and natural looking light that is more flattering to the subject. And overall, bounce lighting is a versatile technique that can produce a natural and flattering look for a variety of subjects and settings. Next, please. So, copy lighting or 45 degree. Copy lighting or 45-degree lighting uses one or more lights positioned at 45 degree of axis from the camera lens. So, copy lighting, also known as 45-degree lighting, is lighting technique commonly used in product photography and other types of commercial photography, and it involves placing the subject at a 45-degree angle to the light source, which is positioned at the same angle on the opposite side of the subject. And the result of the copy lighting is that one side of the subject is fully illuminated while the other side is in shadow, and creating a three-dimensional effect that highlights the shape and texture of the subject. This technique is particularly effective for products such as jewelry, electronics, and other items that require a detailed and accurate representation. And the overall is copylighting is a powerful technique that can help to create visually appealing and accurate representation of products and other subjects, and making it an essential tool in commercial and product photography. Next.
Good day, everyone. I am David Emmanuel Reyes. Side oblique lighting. Side lighting consists of light that falls on a subject within the scene at approximately 90 degrees to the side of the camera. This means that one side of a subject will be lit and the other side will be in a shadow.
In terms of helping to convey a subject's shape and form, this is ideal. In addition to adding dimensions, side lighting also brings out the features and textures in a subject. Next slide, please. Backlighting. Backlighting is created with the light sources behind the subject being aimed towards the camera. This means that the location that the light source is placed in relation to the subject, it is a neutral lighting that diffuses shadows on the face. You will find it in mostly used for portraits or to emphasize an object or subject. Next slide. Diffuse lighting. Diffuse lighting is usually used for photographing evidence with a shiny or reflective surfaces and creates a soft light that results in a smooth, even light. This means that the light that has uneven or concentration across the spread of its beam, diffuse light or soft light, is the light that's filtered by something, or sunlight through a sheer curtain is what we call diffuse. Light from behind a lampshade is also called diffuse compared to the direct light of a bare bulb. That's all.
Hello, my name is J. Anthony B. Boxall. I'm reporting diffuse tent light. Diffuse tent lightning, shiny object light, highly polished metal or mirrors have eternally elect elective surface. Like sample, if the surface is smooth and shiny like glass, water, or polished metal, the light will reflect at the same angle and hit the surface. Next, please. Transmitted lighting. Transmitted lighting is produced by the light shining through the subject, and toward the camera and image surface. Sample is transmitted lighting from the sample is a glass of water and even an empty glass. When in the light shine toward the object does not block the light, whatever it transmit or passage to the glass, making it invisible to the other side. Next, please. Diffuse tent alternative transmit light. An alternative method of forensic image or transmitted object and specific glass where it is the force from white and light and black line lightning. Sorry, I'm feeling it. Thank you.
Good day. I am Mark Joseph Ayokias. So today I will report the topic about the two types of alternative transmitted light. So number one, white line glassware. If there is a bright light on the side and or on the surface of the glass subject close to the camera, then the lightning is known as a white line lightning. So as the light passes through the glass absorbs light. So white line glassware lightning is useful to reveal glass artifacts and each definition. White line lighting is produced by placing a piece of black material behind the subject, then adding two lights outside the field of view. These lights are directed through the glass subject from behind it using on oblique of view to the camera lens. Next, black line glassware transmit transmitted light that passes through the glassware and creates no reflection on the camera facing surfaces, produces a black line lightning pattern along the sides and edges of the glass. So black line lightning occurs because the light is transmitting through the glass without reflection. The glass absorbs portions of the light and acts as filter, providing information like color, density, and thickness of the glass. Black line lightning is created by initially placing a white or light gray background behind the subject. Next, pupil friction and photograph could help investigators solve crimes. So Dr. Rob Jenkins of the University of York's Department of Psychology published a study that showed how pupils in photographs of faces can be mined for hidden information. So the study simulated crime photos in which victims are photographed by attackers to examine the reflection in the eyes of those being photographed. So by zooming in on the light resolution photos, Jenkins and Kerr were able to recover bystander image that were then accurately defined eight by the eight individuals photographed, even if the image quality was poor. So investigators often use to correct photographic evidence to try the catch perpetrators. The The study simulated crime photos in which victims are photographed by attackers to examine the reflection in the eyes being photographed. Next, so refraction. What is refractive index? So refractive index, also called index of refraction, is the measure of the bending of a ray light when passing from one medium in another. So the refractive index is a tool used to study how light bends as it passes through one substance into another. Any substance that light passes through has its own refractive index. So that's all.
So my name is David Giro M. Igia. So how does refraction help in the forensic investigation? It can help because it can identify which suspect matches with which crime scene. One way to identify glass or acrylic fragment is to identify the index of refraction of the sample. Law enforcement uses a technique to identify glass fragments using more specific immersions, liquids called Cargill liquids. Next slide, please. Application of refractive index to index to forensics. Glass fragments can break off headlights during a car crash and can link a suspect to a crime. So, glass fragments can break a headlights during a car crash and link a suspect to a crime. Forensic investigators can use the refractive index and determine if there are similarities from the glass at the crime scene of if suspicion can be removed from a suspect. In addition, forensic scientists can determine what type of glass has been left at a scene. Next slide, please. Path of a path of a bullet passing through window glass. Path of a path of a bullet passing through a window glass. The angle of the bullet hole can help locate the location of the suspect. The hole that the bullet entered through will be round. If the bullet was fired into the glass at the angle, fracture patterns in the glass left after the bullet is shot through. It can help determine the shooter's position. There are others technology that can help to locate or identify of the location where the bullet did came from. Example is laser. Laser is to visualize bullet paths during the reconstruction of bullet shooting incidents. Visualizing the approximate bullet path with a laser is an important technique that can help identify positions of shooters and victims and locate key items of physical evidence. Next reporter, please.
So, good day everyone. I am Lloyd JB Andrade and I'm gonna report the polarized light. So, polarized light is a normal light is composed of waves that vibrate at all angles around the axis of propagation. A special polarizing filter is placed over the camera lens and rotated until front surface glare is minimized. For example, consider taking a photo of someone in a pool when there is a glare coming off the water. The water will tend to reflect light and polarize at an angle. So polarized light is particularly useful in landscape photography. It also helps to reduce the glare from the reflective surface such as water, glass, and metal. When polarized light is used in photography, it only allows the light waves in a specific direction to pass through the filters. The polarized light eliminates the light waves vibrating in all directions by absorbing them. As a result, the image captured becomes sharper and more vibrant. So mas hayag siya basta naa ang polarized light. Next is next slide please. Next is imaging on the crime scene and finding traces. So, A crime scene is a very complex environment in which traces with an evidential value coexist with many items which do not carry any significant information or event. So moreover, traces are often tiny and sometimes the perpetrator or ang suspect kay kina-erase niya na, so the detection is not easy or dili na to makita sa atong naked eye tungod sa banish niya ang evidence. So para makita na siya in the first instance, so ang pamaagi na isang absorption. So ang absorption can be exploited to improve contrast using an illumination source of the same color as the surface. So the background of the image or kanang object, kung tayo ang object kay parehas sila color sa background. So ang the background kay most will appear lighter paggamitan og absorption, so mas muhayag ang background, so mas maklaro to ang evidence or ang object nga nakatago. Next slide please. So fluorescence, this is a quite practical in some approaches, but they are not very efficient in detecting fingerprints or other kinds of important biological fluids, such as semen, vaginal fluids, or saliva. So, ang fluorescence in photography, it refers to the phenomenon where certain materials emit light of a specific wavelength when exposed to light of a different wavelength. This effect can be produce beautiful and striking images that are popular in art, scientific research, and commercial applications. So, one of the most popular uses of fluorescence in photography is for capturing the vivid colors of flowers and plants. Kanang hayag siya nga pagka-picture, and many types of flowers have pigments that fluorescence under created. So, ang fluorescence can detect gunshot residue. So it can detect gunshot residue on the hands of or clothes of a suspected shooter. A simple setup can be illumination with 455 nm light and observation with orange filter. Next reporter.
Good day everyone, my name is Prince Aida Kudao. Absorption mode. A colored object or stain can be visualized emphasizing it against the substrate where it stands. If there is a chromatic difference between the trace and its substrate, then it is possible to enhance it with photographs in the absorption mode. The best approach is illuminating the surface with monochromatic light obtained by suitable filter. Working in the dark is suggested for the best result. The color of light to shine on the surface must be complementary to the color of the trace and as close as possible that of that substrate. With care, this procedure can be used to produce a surprisingly lifelike lifelike image of color object or stain on white or other colored surface. A photograph taken in the absorption mode can then be inserted into the image to create a final color production of the object or stain. Therefore, just the blue light reflected by the surface will reach the detector of the camera, and as a result, the stain will stand out dark against a light background. The technique can be applied using a filter monochromatized, eliminating light and observing with unfiltered camera or by naked eye. As an alternative, a filter can be applied to the object of the camera or object can be observed through a filter with illuminating it with white light. The former method is more efficient but must be performed in the dark. The, lat- the latter has the advantage that can applied in sunlight or in condition or artificial lighting. Figure 13 imaging in the absorption mode of the orange stain on a blue subject. Light monochromatized by a filter is shown on the object, just the substrate reflects light, whereas the stain absorbs it and thus no light reflected by it will not reach the camera. White light is shone on the object. The substrate reflects blue light. The stain reflects orange light. Uh, a filter applied the camera will let just blue light pass and the image will show a black stain in the intense blue-black one. Next slide. Diffuse reflection mode. Imaging techniques which exploit the depth of light can be very useful for observing traces which lie on a smooth or very reflecting surface or for enhancing their 3D structure. This technique can be applied either with monochromatic or with white light. The method works best in fact on smooth and dark surface which will absorb most the radiation em- embedding on them the reflecting the rest. Reflecting. This allow the diffuse light rays to more easily penetrate the surface, providing an enhanced 3D image of the object beneath. The method is daily suited for using microscopy where littleness of object is an issue. The rationale of this technique can be understood if two main mechanisms of reflection of light from a surface are acknowledged, i.e., specular reflection and diffuse reflection. When light impinging the surface, it will circularly reflected by smooth regions and it will diffuse by the rough regions. Illumination is oriented at an angle such that specular reflection does not reach the camera, whereas diffuse light, which is directed in all directions of space, can be acquired by the detector. This way, the trace appears as a light feature on a dark surface. The surface of an object will reflect light in many directions. Diffuse reflection is the most important in obtaining an accurate image of surface. The shadow cast by an object will also be diffused. The camera can detect light in all directions, which gives the image a three-dimensional look. As evident from 16 illuminations showed the angle, especially if it's of interest of enhance the 3D structure of the observed object or oblique or incident light should be used in this case and there is no need for monochromizing big and next reporter.
Cross-polarization in forensic photography is a technique used to capture backscattered light from a subject while dramatically reducing or eliminating direct planar light that is reflecting from a subject and is primarily used in nature photography. A polarizing film at the light source and polarizing filter at the lens and rotating both polarizers opposite each other further dim light. And also, these surfaces can capture the photographer's light sources, set up or the photographer themselves. This easily controlled by rotating linear polarizers against one another as cross-polarization offers more control other reflective sources. That's all our topic, ma'am. Thank you.